The North Carolina Football Club and the town of Cary welcome you to WakeMed Soccer Park for tonight's match between North Carolina FC and Union Omaha. Thank you for coming and enjoy the action. Here's tonight's starting lineups for Union Omaha. Please welcome their captain, number 22, Connor Doyle. In goal tonight, number 33, Kevin Piedrahita. Number 13 is Dalton Knudsen. Number 4, Alex Touche. Number 27 is Ryan Jiba. Number 26 is Dion Acoff. Number 17, JP Skeers. Number 8, Joe Brito. Number 20 is Luis Heavey. Number 7, No Meza. And number 9, Corey Herzog. Union Omaha is led by head coach Jay Mims. Okay, CFC fans, it's almost time for the players to start walking out. They'll be in the tunnel any minute now. Come on, let's make some noise. Let's show them we're ready for this.
Hurricane Ian has passed, and with the calendar moving into October, the USL League One season is coming into the final weeks. Tonight at WakeMed Soccer Park, the playoff picture comes further into focus as North Carolina FC takes on Union Omaha on ESPN+. And as we look at the standings from their game on Wednesday, North Carolina FC's victory over Central Valley Fuego puts them at 29 points and keeps them in the playoff hunt. And with that win, the Richmond Kickers at the top of the table have clinched their spot into the playoffs. And after this weekend, we could see as many as 4 more teams get into the final dance. Hello and welcome here from WakeMed Soccer Park. I'm Brian Ware along with Andrew Tate. And Andrew, as we mentioned on Wednesday, NCFC got a big 2-1 win against Central Valley Fuego to keep their playoff hopes alive. Slim, but still alive. and now they got to get another win tonight against the defending champs, Union Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big win on Wednesday night. The team needed it after some unlucky breaks and some performances that maybe weren't quite up to par, but they corrected that on Wednesday, and they'll be looking to carry that on today.
Yeah, and one of the performances that wowed everybody for this team was 16-year-old Nicolas Rincon. He was a marvel.
Yeah, number 31, you see it here, a little flick around the corner, gets it back, and then the composure here inside the 6-yard box to lay it on a plate for Garrett McLaughlin. That was the assist that got North Carolina off and running, but later in the game, you see it here, Luis Arriaga rolls it to the penalty spot, and there he was to put his name in lights. Nico Rincon, the 16-year-old, with the game winner, and a massive 3 points for North Carolina FC.
Yeah, he was absolutely sensational a couple days ago. Union Omaha is trying to defend their title, and they made a big signing this summer, signing Corey Hertog, and that has paid dividends in these last couple weeks.
Yeah, Union Omaha had a lot of young forwards, some young pros that were finding their way, and they started brightly, had a great Open Cup run that took them to the quarterfinals. But now as they look to get into the latter stage of the season, the veteran leadership of Corey Hertzog, who's been around the leagues for a long time, 32 years old, 3 goals on the season. He'll be looking to be clinical today in this Union Omaha offense, trying to get the win here to secure their spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, Union Omaha's attack is going to be a handful, and young Britton Fisher is going to be one of the defenders in the starting lineup. We'll have lineups and the kickoff next.
Continental Tire has been a proud supporter of soccer for more than a decade. We've been there both on and off the field for some of the greatest celebrations. We've watched with you as the game and personalities have gotten bigger. We are proud to continue standing alongside you, supporting the game that gives us all so much. Together, we've shared thousands of incredible goals and celebrations. Here's to many more to come.
So, how do you like your urgent care? At Wake Med, we have urgent care just about everywhere. Urgent care that specializes in orthopedics and kids. My Care 365, open every day of the year. Even virtual urgent care. Yup, urgent care in your jammies on your tablet. So download the Wake Med All Access app and get urgent care that's caring, convenient, and just the way you like it.
Back here at Wake Med Soccer Park, North Carolina FC and Union Omaha just about ready to kick off. And Andrew, let's quickly get to the starting lineups. We mentioned Britton Fisher is in the starting 11 for head coach John Bradford, and that's the only change. He's kept the same team that got that win on Wednesday.
Yeah, lots of familiar faces. Just the one change, forced change. Fernandez out with a yellow card accumulation. Other than that, it's same old for them after a big win in midweek.
And for Union Omaha, they have made a couple changes since they last played on September 21st. As you see, Doyle and Meza in the starting 11. And don't forget, Kevin Pietrahita, he's going to be a handful in goal, I believe, as well.
Yeah, we'll be looking to narrow off in that midfield. Fullbacks get forward, looking to provide that support for Corey Hertzog and Noe Meza. Hopefully they'll be able to get the goals for this Union Omaha side today, and what looks set to be a great game here at Wake Med Soccer Park.
It's an important game in the race for the USL League One playoffs presented by Hisense, and NCFC in all blue is going to kick things off here in Cary. Union Omaha is in all white. NCFC coming into this game with a record of 8 wins, 14 losses, and 5 draws. Union Omaha, a record of 10 wins, 6 losses, and 11 draws. It's 11th place versus 3rd place as Rincon tries to unleash McLaughlin. And it falls back to Pietrahita. Pietrahita in goal the last time these two teams faced out in Nebraska. And Actually, it was Piedrahita that made USL League One history when he scored from a long booming kick in the first minute and became the first goalkeeper to score in league history, which was kind of a shocker.
You don't see that too often, do you?
No, you only see that if you're in a windstorm. The one I remember the most was it was Tim Howard's. I believe it was against Bolton. Oh, it was just about almost 10 years ago. And you see that's where Omaha loves to attack. They love to get the as you said, Andrew, get the fullbacks up, try to get some key passes in to the box, and Meza is going to be another problem for NCFC's defense. He's the leading goal scorer for Union Omaha. The defense does its job as the ball gets out to the 16-year-old Nicolas Rincon, who John Bradford said he traveled up to New Jersey to see this young kid play and decided to bring him here to Raleigh. And this is only his third start. We were looking at, how much has he played? He's only played coming into this game just over 200 minutes. And he has started the last 2 games, and Coach John Bradford is basically like, he's unplayable. We need to keep him in the starting 11. As Arriaga comes in on a good run, over to McLaughlin, keeps the ball alive, but as you see, with all the rain that poured from the hurricane, we were looking at how the teams are doing in the warm-up. The pitch is very saturated. You can already see dirt marks on the pitch, so you could see a lot of slipping and sliding in certain spots.
It's not something we see very often at Wake Med Soccer Park. The pitch always is in pristine condition, but after the amount of rain we've had Friday here in the East Coast and down south in Florida, we got a bit of Hurricane Ian here. So yeah, it's still in great nick, but certainly a bit more soggy in patches than we're used to seeing here.
Summersall picks up the loose ball. And even though all the acclaim went to, obviously, Nicolas Rincon did, and Garrett McLaughlin getting the goals, I think Raheem Summersall has really stepped into his own in the center of the midfield for NCFC.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Brian. I think the pairing of him and Pekka, which is something they've struggled to get together this season just based on injuries and availability, but the two of them together, I think, are a really good foil, that experience and youth.
Look at that ball from Rincon over to McLaughlin. Has Arriaga in space, now tries to lay it to Anderson. Anderson pressuring Akoff, but he's able to spin away from trouble.
And that will be an interesting matchup out there, Brian. Dion Akoff, typically a wide forward or attacking midfielder type player. He's going to have his hands full today with Olex Anderson and the direct play that he puts in there. And he did do well under pressure there in his own penalty box to escape and connect the pass out of pressure.
Yeah, and we've seen over the year that Anderson loves to play not as like a winger that's wide, but a winger that's kind of in his supposed position. And so he's going to try to make those runs right at the edge of the box and try to spin him. There's Doyle, the captain for Union Omaha. Ball squirts back to the captain for NCFC, John Skelton, and it's cleared by Will Pulisic. A bit of a reach from Christian Liu Young.
I think, Brian, just going back to your earlier point on Nicolas Rincon, 16 years old, brought down to North Carolina. He's part of the homestay here, homestay program, I should say, which the club implemented in the last year or so, where they look to attract talent add to the great youth players that they have here in the club. Attract some of the finest young talent around the country, bring them in, set them up with a family. But for 16 years old to come down here, move away from his family, he is of Colombian nationality, so he's got family in different places. But here he's found a little home for himself here. He feels comfortable, confident, and he's been backed by his coach and given opportunities. And boy, did he repay them in midweek. And I think that's just the start of things to come for him. And in talking to the coaches, they say, he's not overly involved in the build-up play, and we saw that on Wednesday night here. But then what he does have is moments of magic. So we'll look to see if there's any more tonight.
There's a bit of a collision between Anderson and I believe Alex Touche just outside the box. And the first yellow card is going to be issued to the Omaha center back.
And that's the problem you can see right there. Touche having to come across because the ball has got in behind Akoff. And that's when the centre backs are putting in more pressure. I'd love to see this. This looks really close to the edge of the box, Brian. And if it's on the line, it should be a penalty, but no, it's perfectly outside, but Anderson does well, referee gets it right, and it's a good early set-piece opportunity for the boys in blue.
Alex Touche, the 23-year-old out of London, England, his first year with the club. And you see McLaughlin staring over the ball.
Union yellow card with the 6 minute of play to number 4.
And Piedrahita organizing his wall and the bodies that are just at the edge of the 6-yard box. McLaughlin weighing his options. He's going to take it, and it's headed away. Kind of had the feeling that McLaughlin had probably eyes for goal. He's second in USL League One in goals this season with 14. He's 2 behind Richmond Kickers striker Emiliano Terzaghi. There's Jiba taking the ball off of Rincon. And a sliding challenge by Pekka yields a free kick, and some of the Omaha players wanted a little more. It's just a foul. Quick restart, though. And it's swung out wide to Joe Brito. Luis Heel, number 20. Back to JP Scarce. He's had a very good season, number 17 in white. He's kind of transitioned from not just a central midfielder, but now a box-to-box midfielder. He's very dangerous outside the edge of the box if the ball falls to him.
Yeah, they haven't scored too many goals this season, Union Omaha, but he has scored some big goals. That's what you need when your forwards aren't chipping in with maybe the 10+ like Garrett McLaughlin is for North Carolina. You need goals from other areas, and Scarce has definitely contributed there. Oof.
A little bit of trouble as North Carolina was trying to move the ball from the back. Arriaga lays it off to Lou Young, and see the Omaha bench getting active, saying, let's get this ball going. Herzog kept it alive, so did Brito, Jiba, and now Doyle.
I think early on, Brian, you can see how Union Omaha trying to get off to a really sharp, fast start here. The intensity, Jay Mims always busy on the sideline trying to get his team going quickly because he knows they're fresh. The 10 days since their last defeat away at Northern Colorado, and they've had a long time to lick their wounds, whereas North Carolina, the 5th game in 14 days. Not a lot of rotation for John Bradford. He's gone with the same old, let's keep things moving, but that sort of contrast there between the amount of minutes in the legs could play a part today.
And not only that, but also a change in system as Anderson tried to keep that alive. It's kept high in the air. Rincon traps it down against Scarce and puts it into space for Summersall to catch up to it. Now Lou Young. Summersall here in the 10th minute. No shots yet from either side. Here you see the width from NCFC as Lou Young now gets into an advanced position. Slips it through to Arriaga. Arriaga's low cross, picked off by Akoff, and he gets it out to Herzog. I mentioned Corey Herzog in the open. Signed with Omaha on August 2nd after previously playing with Hartford Athletic earlier this year. He's had his contract terminated as Fisher wins that duel, and now Anderson in the box against Touche, and it's going to be a goal kick.
Touche did really well there because you could see OLX trying to tease him into a tackle there, already on a yellow card. The last place you want to be is defending 1v1 in the box against OLX Anderson at that pace. But he does really, really well there to wait and then just guides him away from the goal. It was a good initial step in from Britton Fisher to win the ball and get the ball out wide.
There you get a look at head coach John Bradford in his 2nd season as head coach of North Carolina FC, also the academy director. He's helped a lot of young men that have come through this academy, sign their first professional contracts as play is stopped, as the ball Bounced off our referee, John Motto. And so we'll have a drop ball, but Omaha will allow NCFC to start possession again. Lou Young. Somersault picks up the ball, now gets it wide to Lou Young, continues his run, and we got a corner kick here after the cross was tipped by Doyle.
And I guess the seal of approval from Coach John Bradford clapping his boys there as there was a good little combination and rotation of players in the attack. Somersault pouncing onto a ball in midfield after asking for the ball and feeding him a good ball out wide. We've seen a lot more from Lou Young today than I felt we saw on Wednesday. He was a lot more restricted in his play then, but today certainly getting forward and trying to ask questions.
Arriaga's corner to the back post, headed away by Knutson, all the way to Pekka. Second ball in, and the flag is up against Fisher as he is ruled offside. As we said just a moment ago, Coach Bradford really doing a good job in terms of bringing players from the academy, getting them their first professional contracts. We mentioned Britton Fisher, Luis Arriaga, Cole Frame, and even Nicolas Rincon. You know, he's brought him up into the first team, and who knows, Rincon may has signed also his first contract. So he's really developing something here of, this is a great team for young players to get their sea legs in and playing professional football.
Absolutely. And we've got, you know, other young players that he's known from his time with the youth national teams in the US. You know, he's got connections and he knows a lot of players. He's incredibly well respected. You know, we've got Nelson Flores coming back from his time with El Salvador. He's on the bench today. We've got Marvin Mariche, Academy product, just signed his first professional contract. He's on the bench today. Nicholas Holiday, another young product, goalkeeper, fantastic talent. He's on the bench. And Britton Fisher obviously starting today as well. 18 years old, in that centre-back spot alongside Jordan Skelton. So yeah, the youth to pro, which is what we talk about a lot with North Carolina, is definitely there. The pipeline is there, the opportunities are there, and it's up to these players to go and grasp it with both hands, as Nicholas Rincon did fantastically well on Wednesday.
You're starting to see a little bit of that press from Omaha. As North Carolina was able to avoid it for just a moment. And Fisher now gives it to Max Flick as Dion Akoff tussles with Olex Anderson. And a free kick to the boys in blue here in the 14th minute.
And a talking to for Dion Akoff as well. That'll be a warning. And that's the questions that Olex Anderson asks. Time in and time out all the time. He's on the ball, trying to get turned, trying to get at you. And he's going to win fouls and ask questions all day long. And there, Akoff knows now the next one will be a yellow card. And that's the difference for North Carolina. On that left-hand side, they've got a lot of pace and power with Olex Anderson. On the right, a little bit of a different proposition with Luis Arriaga. It's a bit more craft and guile. And that's where Lou Young's got to get forward down that right-hand side to give him the option down the flank.
Pekka was looking for Anderson. Omaha defense deals with it. As this touch a little too strong. And now Pekka is back on the ball. Somersault. Very tight 4-4-2 formation for Union Omaha here. As Anderson cuts it back to Pekka in the middle. Arriaga is looking for Flick to continue the run. They pick the ball up again in the box. Anderson, Arriaga, just a bit outstretched for him, cleared by Chiba. And Fisher keeps it in. That's a deft touch from the 18-year-old.
Fractions away just a moment ago from getting a shot on target from a great area. It was a situation where Arriaga found Molina on Wednesday night. It was the reverse there. Arriaga found himself on the penalty spot, but the pass just a touch astray. Couldn't quite pull it under his grasp because it was a good opportunity for North Carolina there. They've shown a few flashes in that attacking third of possible question or opportunity to test the goalkeeper in Piedrahita, but yet to come.
This is the final matchup between North Carolina FC and Union Omaha. They first played here in Cary on July 9th, which ended in a 1-1 draw. And unfortunately, on August 20th, NCFC had probably one of their worst performances, losing by the score 4-1. And I believe they also had 2 men sent off as well. So they finished the game with 9 men.
I think Britton Fisher was one of those on that day. I think he was a bit unfortunate with the decision, but it was just one of those days where anything that could go wrong did go wrong. We talked about the goalkeeper goal early on. Yeah, it was a night to forget for Coach John Bradford of North Carolina. But I remember the game here, Brian, really, really well. It was massively a game of 2 halves. North Carolina up 1-0 in the first half, had the better of the play, didn't maybe take full advantage as they could have. And it came back to haunt them as a little tactical change from Coach Jay Mims, went to a diamond in that midfield 4. And Connor Doyle and co in the middle in the second half really pulled the strings, asked the questions, and got that much needed equalizer.
There you get a look at Jay Mims and the Union Omaha bench. Head coach for Union Omaha, Jay Mims, was part of the coaching staff that won the USL Championship with Real Monarchs in 2019. But he has been a part of Nebraska soccer for quite a while, as Olex Anderson is on a good run. Anderson gets the defender off his feet, and Knudsen blocked the cross and concedes the corner.
What a run from Olex Anderson. He's doing absolutely everything here to unlock the deadlock. Just a header from Max Flick, and then Olex Anderson gets the break, skips past Connor Doyle, leaves him for dead, and then his problems.
Fans, let's join the OCS.
Touche holds him up, but then Knudsen does really well, sliding to the ground to cut that corridor pass out from Anderson, who was looking for McLaughlin in that favoured position. We can always find him in the 6-yard box. Once again, great play from Anderson.
Arriaga with the corner kick, and a whistle in the box as there was a foul. And free kick given back to Omaha here in the 19th minute. Still scoreless. This week, as we said at the Open, this weekend's bit of games will determine the playoff picture a little further, as looks like Dion Akoff, the right back for Union Omaha, is down, and he's clutching his groin. And that could be a significant injury. Akoff is playing in his 25th game of the season.
I don't see a lot of Union Omaha players showing a lot of enthusiasm to get off the bench and go warm up. And the proposition of having to go in and fill in at right back against Olex Anderson and the frightening pace that he possesses.
Yeah, and looking at their substitute roster, it looks like it will probably be, if they do need to make a change, it might be Gabe Claudio or Shaft Brewer. Those are the only defenders they have on the bench. Eddie Gordon's more of a midfielder, so is Shivani Lewis. And you have 2 strikers in Kamatani and Rivera. And you see Akoff now standing up, but he is definitely walking gingerly and trying to stretch out that groin muscle, because he has been trying his darndest to keep pace with Olex Anderson on those big runs that he has made.
I'm no sign language expert, Brian, but for me, the signals that were coming certainly looked like a change had to happen. I think you have to be 100% if you're going to go 1v1 with Olex Anderson. They've already got 2 shiny yellow cards sitting inside him, so it's important that the change that they make there fills that gap.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be number 28, Shaft Brewer, getting the early call here, not 20 minutes into the match. Akoff had signed for Omaha this season after spending about 6 years in playing professionally in Iceland and Finland. And as play gets back underway, Akoff's going to deal with the trainer, and Shaft Brewer Jr. is going to be called up, the 22-year-old out of Sacramento. So Currently, Omaha playing with 10 men. And can NCFC capitalize as Arriaga's on the ball. Now switches field to Pekka in the middle. Gets it out wide to Flick. Luis Heel is playing in Akoff's spot for the moment at right back. Pekka. Good pass splitting defenders for Summersall, who had an idea of going for goal.
It's an ambitious effort from Raheem Summerstall, not known for his 40-yard bombs, but
no, he's not scored yet. But as I said earlier, he's been very good in that midfield. He's first in the team in tackles, second in the team in interceptions. He's got a real eye for the ball in terms of how to interact with a defender and how to pick it off when he can see the opportunity.
Yeah, he's an industrious player. Really good athletic presence in there, which is something I feel North Carolina has lacked in recent seasons. Just somebody that can get about the field, cover the ground. Pekka does incredibly well. He's more of a terrier, though, than a LeBron James type athlete, you know. So having Raheem there to get through the dog's work and cover the ground, it's a good balance in there. Youth and experience, energy and savviness. Yeah, like I said, not known for his 40-yard bombs. John Brad probably prefer him to dish that ball out wide and pick up the pieces next time.
Shaft Brewer just below us, ready to check in on the next dead ball, as Dion Akoff has to go off with injury less than 20 minutes into the game. Summersall out wide to Christian Liu Young. Now to Arriaga. His cross. McLaughlin was there. And Heel keeps it alive. And Herzog gets it out of play. And now the sub is going to come in. Brewer in for Akoff, the 22-year-old out of Sacramento, California. He has spent a lot of time with some very good youth academies. Played for the Sacramento Republic Academy. Played for the FC Dallas Academy, and spent a year in Germany playing for the Leipzig Academy.
Shaft Brewer, 23rd minute.
And he was also signed by LAFC in that team's inaugural season in 2018. So he has been around the block in terms of playing with different youth academies, and now getting his 6th game here this season for Union Omaha, number 28 in white. So midway through this first half, still scoreless. Not a lot to see from things from an offensive perspective. There have been chances, and it seems like North Carolina has really gotten some good runs when they go out wide.
Yeah, and we talked about Union Omaha not scoring a lot of goals. They've got the best defensive record in the league. Just 29 goals conceded, but they've given up 9 in the last 4, so they're on a bit of a tough patch at the moment. Winless in 4 games, given up 9 goals. That's a third of the goals they've conceded on the season. They've given up in 4 games, so their confidence and form's not where it needs to be, especially as you're finishing up the season here with just 3 games to go. Their last road game here, they'll go back to Nebraska with 2 home games to follow. But they've got a chance to try and win the league, and at the same time,
Bad giveaway by Fisher. Here's a chance, and Corey Herzog makes them pay. A huge mistake by the young center back, Britton Fisher, and Corey Herzog gives Omaha the lead.
Yeah, it's North Carolina's in possession. Fisher with the eyes for the pass through to Summersall. Herzog read it perfectly, just slides inside, cuts it out. Great first touch, sets himself, and just hammers it into the bottom corner past the helpless Will Pulisic. And that's the clinical nature we talked about of the veteran forward, his 4th goal of the season. And he was given an opportunity. That was his first of the game. That's the only look he's had at goal, and he's taken it with both hands. And unfortunately for Britton Fisher, it's another nightmare performance or moment against Union Omaha. But what I liked, Brian, was just the moment from his captain, Jordan Skelton, fellow centre-back, went over to him, picked him up off the ground, gave him a tap on the head. Let's go again. As a young player, you're going to make mistakes, but it's how you bounce back from them. And now's the test for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for North Carolina FC. As we said in the open, their chances of making the playoffs are very, very slim. And they need to win out if they want a chance to sniff at the playoffs. Corey Herzog, as you mentioned in the open, has had a storied career playing for teams just up a division in the USL Championship. Played several years at Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, played with formerly St. Louis FC, spent a couple years with Reno, and just last year he was with the San Diego Loyal. And he is, I believe, still in the top, 4 or 5 in all-time goals scored in USL Championship history, with 73 in his time in the USL Championship, as Brito's cross is met by Skelton. So give credit to head coach Jay Mims that they were able to, as you said, find a guy that can give that experience, get those quality goals when they need it. As Rincon on a solo mission up the field, and there was no help as Omaha deals with it, and Flick picks up the loose ball.
Good play from Rincon, though. He had no options, but he drove forward, carried the ball down the field, taking the team up the pitch, and they need that, especially after a moment, a bad giveaway in possession. And really, they had no questions asked of them before that. And they handed the lead now to Union Omaha, the reigning champions. Exactly what you don't need to do, but the 16-year-old trying to help his team out here.
29th minute here and in Cary, North Carolina. We thank you for joining us here on ESPN Plus. I'm Brian Ware along with Andrew Tate. The home side down 1-0 after a horrendous error by Britton Fisher, and that's a very decent ball by Rincon, and Anderson's cross was dealt with by Piedrahita and the Omaha defense. And Rincon's quickly back on the ball for NCFC as Fisher switches the point of attack. Pekka gets by Meza. And a weak low shot is easy pickings for Piedrahita.
And it's a great ball from Rincon. Nobody else saw this pass. It was a brilliant ball inside shaft. Brewer Anderson again. I think he's trying to cross it, but he almost catches Piedrahita out at his near post, who palms it back out into a very dangerous area. McLaughlin was nearly on the scene. But Union Omaha gets off the hook. It's another close one, but not close enough for North Carolina. I know, Brian, in talking about Rincon, they talked about he sees things that other players don't see, and that was a great example.
This is another opportunity for Omaha as Brewer found Heel, his cross met by the NCFC back line, and Summersall wins the loose ball. Now what can they do with it? McLaughlin gets it back to Fisher, but Anderson didn't continue his run. Now Bradford saying move the line up. And you also see JP Scarce saying let's slow things down in the middle of the pitch. Big touch by Brito as Mezzo was trying to link up that ball, but he was in an offside position as he curled and tried to beat Skelton to that pass.
That's clever from Union Omaha. You can see they almost try to lull you into this slow play. They go slow, and then they try to go quick and almost catch the North Carolina back line out there, but he was a couple of yards just the wrong side of the last defender. Good spot from the assistant referee.
Somersault, a little heavy touch with the ball. But what tenacity.
Yeah, he's looking good today, Brian, on that dribble. A few times I think he's going to overrun it. But those long legs just tease the defenders in, and he's skipping by them today.
Somersault from St. Kitts and Nevis. Cone is met by Doyle. Now Somersault. McLaughlin. Rincon. CFC operating in the center as now Rincon gets it out wide to Anderson. Flick on an overlap. Anderson met by Heel. Evades one and two challenges. Tipped away by Knutson. As it gets out of a spit of bother, and Omaha is back on the ball. You almost saw that deft touch by Herzog just a moment ago. He was like, if you had kept going, it would have been there.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it from the big man. I was thinking he was going to hold it up because he's not blessed with a lot of pace at the grand old age of 32. The old man on the pitch alongside Pekka. They're showing some craft and creativity. It's not just for the young kids.
Pekka. Liu Young. He's gotten a little further up, but no one to support him. So it's back to Somersault.
Omaha's really going to make North Carolina FC work for this goal now. Like I said, very stingy defense this season. They've turned over some MLS teams, the reigning champions. They make it very difficult to get really compact and narrow off across the back and across the middle. It's going to take a real moment from North Carolina, or maybe a mistake, to just level things up.
As this bit of possession is unfolding, you're starting to see how some of the, certain players in certain positions want the ball in certain situations, and that's the situation that Liu Young wants. Support to try to get it up, as Coach Bradford was looking for a foul in the collision between McLaughlin and Knutson.
And here we'll see it again. McLaughlin cuts it inside. There's a little contact there. I don't think there's enough really to go down. My question for McLaughlin was, could he get to that one? Seemed like he was maybe looking for more of the decision and maybe to get on the end of it. Been a big call for the referee there.
And a foul. Late whistle called by referee John Motto, and it's going to be a free kick to Omaha as Anderson and Shaft Brewer tussle just ahead of midfield. Ball stays in Omaha's half.
I have to give credit to Brewer. He's really come in and quietened down that left flank for North Carolina. Not seen a lot of Anderson. Not easy coming off the bench into a game that's been running for 20-30 minutes, but he's done a good job, settled in, and there you see him getting the better of Anderson and winning a free kick for his team.
And it's also a bit of kind of fitness thing too, because they just played on Wednesday. As it's going to be a goal kick for NCFC, and obviously when you're a winger and you try to make those big runs, those big sprints, kind of need those couple minutes to get that wind back in your sails. And so far in the last 10 or so minutes, we haven't really seen that from Anderson after a glorious opening 20.
North Carolina, they need the productivity from him, and then they need the clinicalness to go with those opportunities, but hasn't been there just yet. Trying to create some other opportunities, not just from Alex Anderson's pace and drive.
McLaughlin with a bad touch, and it's spun into trouble, and that allows Omaha to try to get it out of harm's way, but you see the press working for NCFC. Rincon, and it's right at Pietrahita.
right at him, but it was a slippy one. Almost escaped Piedrahita's grasp, but there's Nico Rincon picking up the ball. It was Flick battling for it. Rincon is about it, gets on it, drives at goal. Not a lot of options ahead of him, so he decides to go for goal himself. It's a good, clean hit, but needed to be a few yards either side of the goalkeeper. I like the confidence, though.
First shot on target for North Carolina FC.
Yeah, we've seen a few missed clearances and odd things happen in the game so far. Why not ask a question of the goalkeeper?
Yeah, and as I'm looking at some of the stats right now, North Carolina has about a 2-to-1 possession edge. They just haven't had the chance to try to put Piedrahita in a bit of bother.
Oh, well played, Rincon. Poor first touch, but he recovered really well.
And that was against the center back too. You see him hopping, trying to get back into his position, and now he's down on the ground.
North Carolina doesn't have to put the ball out. That was the rule change a few years ago. He might need to go down, but unfortunately he's not going to get any help from North Carolina.
Anderson's cross dealt with, and now play is going to be stopped so that some treatment could be given to Alex Touche, the center back, who is on a yellow card for his challenge early against Olex Anderson, and that time he was
Fans, don't
in a
forget
bit of
to
a
join
challenge with
NCFC next Saturday night as they take
Nicolas
on the
Rincon.
Chattanooga Red Wolves. Tickets available online or by calling the box office. That number 919-459-8144.
We'll see if this is something of a little bit of an ankle injury, ankle
Red
twitch,
Wolves
or
on
no, it
the
looks like
8th,
he's
right here at Wake Med Soccer Park.
looking at his hamstring.
Yeah,
And that could put Omaha in another problem situation, because they've already used one substitution situation for an injury, and now this could be another. And so then that would be two, and then your final substitution, opportunity, you can still make up to 5 subs, but by that point, you would have to make, a full deck change. And so this is going to be a key situation for Jay Mims and the staff.
Yeah, I think if you need to make the change, you're going to make the change, though, Brian.
Yeah, I see down at the bench, number 5, Gabriel Claudio, getting his jersey on. A 22-year-old defender out of Yuma, Arizona, is Alex Touche is up on his feet.
Not moving very well, though.
Not moving very well either.
This isn't just a problem for now, though, Brian. You look at it, there's just 2 more games after today before the playoffs start, and you've picked up 2 injuries to 2 key players. I'd have expected it to be maybe the other way around. North Carolina on their 5th game in 2 weeks, and they haven't played for 10 days, Union Omaha, but maybe the travel, you factor all this stuff in there. It's a wet, saturated pitch, right? And they're asking a lot of them.
And they're both muscle injuries. Akoff with a groin injury. Yep. Touche with looks like a hamstring injury. So the 23-year-old from England is going to have to come out. And Gabriel Claudio, who played 2 years in college at UNLV, is going to come on for his 20th appearance. And the sub is made here in the 40th minute.
And it's a like-for-like change. Best hair in Carey, I would say, at the moment. But it's a like-for-like change. Been a part of that stingy defense this season. And he'll come in there and look to shut down Garrett McLaughlin, the leading goal scorer for North Carolina. But 2 changes in that back line for Union Omaha. You'd expect a good amount of stoppage time here as well, Brian, as we've got 5 minutes plus. So can North Carolina capitalize on these changes?
Summersall on the ball for North Carolina, back to Skelton. Now Britton Fisher, whose unfortunate mistake is what has given us This game of 1-0 in favor of Omaha, as Corey Hertzog's goal is the difference. Lou Young trying to get around Brito. Jiba's right there to stop him, and it's going to be a goal kick. Good crowd here on a Saturday night here at WakeMed Soccer Park, especially after everything that happened the last few days with Hurricane Ian causing devastation both in the state of Florida and here in the Carolinas. There's Corey Hertzog again, causing the NCFC center back some problems. Almost led to a situation there.
Yeah, North Carolina has to be careful because in open play, Union Omaha have created little to nothing. The last thing you need to do is gift them another opportunity to get a goal. Because like I said, this team is savvy. They'll find a way. And after a poor run of form, that's all they need is an invitation to get a result today.
Jiba shakes off Arriaga. Cross bounces around. Fisher can't really clear it. It's kept alive by Brewer, out by Pekka, and now Anderson. Could he be off to the races? He needs support. He's got Rincon and McLaughlin there. Almost dribbled into trouble, and Rincon is there to back him up. 16-year-old Colombian then lays it off to Pekka. Your head coach, John Bradford, what kind of tweaks do you think they need to make in order to get some advantageous situations for NCFC?
I think they've got to try and find a way to get Arriaga on the ball, Molina on the ball more often, Rincon on the ball more often. Garrett McLaughlin, we really haven't seen a lot of him, so that combination play we've seen on a couple of occasions, but getting the ball into those attacking areas, into those creative players, we've seen a lot from Olex Anderson, but it's a very simple, straightforward tactic of get the ball to Anderson and let him go. But they've got to find a way to create and craft something through that combination play. We've seen Summersall do it from deeper, but they've got to find a way. At the moment, it's mostly coming through Anderson and maybe Lou Young. So, you know, whether it's Arriaga or, you know, the likes of Jaden Savania, Nicholas Molina, Marvin Mariche, Shaq Adams off the bench, you've got some opportunities there to bring some fresh legs in. So, but for me, they've shown glimmers. They've dominated the ball. Like I said, getting those creative players on the ball in higher areas. But full credit to Union Omaha, they've made it difficult. Here you go.
There's Arriaga. McLaughlin lays it off to Lou Young. Arriaga to Summersall. Can they pick the pace up as they switch field? Flick. Summersall in the middle. Out to Lou Young. Arriaga's in support. Up against Jiba. Left-footed cross to the back post, and Piedrahita is able to beat Flick to the spot.
I like that though, Brian, the changes in switching the field, going from right to left, stretching those banks of four and moving them. They're going to find opportunities then to get those attacking players on the ball. Now you see Max Flick from left back trying to make a run in the box. Because like we said, there's not a lot being offered for Union Omaha in attack. They're not really a team that's going to break you down on the counter-attack either. There's not a great deal of pace from Mazer or Herzog. And the four midfielders are having to do a lot of work in front of the back four, so there's opportunities to flood some players in there and really overload those attacks. So yeah, keep switching the play and creating those openings to find those attacking players.
There's still some opportunities here in this first half as we have 5 minutes of added time. Olex Anderson to Rincon. Ball bounced around off Brewer as Anderson tried to work a give and go. And you also see those types of give and go formations from NCFC, especially on this right side. You think that Lou Young wants to get a little bit higher up the pitch to try to execute something like that?
Absolutely. I'm just thinking here, Brian, I'm watching this game and I'm looking at it going, which team's in third, which team's in 11th, right? If you're looking at this game, obviously there's one mistake that's gifted the Union Omaha the lead, but if you're looking at the play, there's not a lot between these two teams, and you wouldn't expect the team in 11th to be the team that's dominating the ball and asking the questions.
Anderson trying to keep it alive. Brewer got a foot in. And instead it's going to be touched off the man from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines last. Here's that last attack by Anderson.
Doyle gets a nibble. Shaft has a nibble. And again, it definitely comes off Anderson, much to his contradiction there. He was trying to claim the corner. The referee was well spotted. I believe got that one correct. As him and Brewer have a good little bit of banter there. Like I said, Brewer's really come in and done a good job there, because that was a problem area for Union Omaha, not opening 15-20 minutes. It was all OLX Anderson. It's gone quiet.
Two minutes already complete in added time as flag is up offsides just before the collision between Claudio and Anderson.
I'll tell you what, Brian, that would have been an interesting decision for the referee to have to make if the assistant's flag wasn't up, as Anderson and Claudio were tussling there. A lot of arms and shirt grabbing. But just a free kick for Union Omaha.
Ball headed away by Max Flick. It will be a throw to Omaha in white as they'll try to take their time and get into the locker rooms with the lead. Skelton's pass over Doyle's head. McLaughlin traps it down and finds Luis Arriaga. Now Lou Young. Passes it back to Arriaga, and now ball is switched to the left side. The far side is Flick and Fisher combined. Young, Arriaga. Got to give a lot of work rate to these, got to compliments to this Union Omaha work rate, especially from the midfielders. They're really putting and testing the width of NCFC in certain spots. And once they get the ball, they want to try to force them into a position where you get two white shirts on them. And you're seeing that time and time again. That's why you're seeing NCFC just passing the ball around along the back.
Yeah, they've really limited and restricted North Carolina. Like we said, they've had a lot of the ball, but not really offered much venom or punch to their play. And that's down to that blue-collar hard work from Doyle, Skiers, Brito, and Heel. They're really good footballers in their own right when they've got the ball, but we haven't seen that in this first half. They've done a lot of the hard yards and the dirty side of the game, which has to be done if you're going to get a result, especially and try and break that run of 4 games.
There's a final chance here by McLaughlin. His cross met by the Omaha defense. And that may be the final bit of action here, as we've now had the 5 minutes. And Union Omaha have not had much of the ball, but they've had one shot, and it's the one that counts. Corey Herzog, his goal in the 26th minute, has given Omaha a 1-0 lead, Andrew.
Yep, sucker punch for North Carolina. They've had all the possession, but they gifted the one big chance of the game to the experienced forward, and he took full advantage. It'll be up to North Carolina to come out in the second half and try and find ways to be a bit more creative and try and get some luck themselves.
So it's North Carolina FC 0, Union Omaha 1. We'll talk more as halftime is just on the other edge of this break. You're watching USL League One on ESPN+.
Continental Tire has been a proud supporter of soccer for more than a decade. We've been there both on and off the field for some of the greatest celebrations. We've watched with you as the game and personalities have gotten bigger. We are proud to continue standing alongside you, supporting the game that gives us all so much. Together, we've shared thousands of incredible goals and celebrations. Here's to many more to come.
At Strategic Systems, we understand that a reliable IT infrastructure doesn't just materialize by itself. We've been helping Triangle businesses of all sizes build and manage secure, reliable technology solutions for over 25 years. Strategic Systems and CEI. Are you transforming your business?
So, how do you like your urgent care? At Wake Med, we have urgent care just about everywhere. Urgent care that specializes in orthopedics and kids. My Care 365, open every day of the year. Even virtual urgent care. Yup, urgent care in your jammies on your tablet. So download the Wake Med All Access app and get urgent care that's caring, convenient, and just the way you like it.
Halftime here at Wake Med Soccer Park. North Carolina FC 0, Union Omaha 1. The boys in blue have had all the possession, but one mistake has given the defending champions the lead after 45 minutes. And we welcome you here up in the booth. I'm Brian Ware along with Andrew Tate. Andrew, kind of a disappointing first half for NCFC. They had so much of the ball, yet the midfield and the defense for Omaha really constricted their movement in terms of how they wanted to attack. And then one mistake has given Omaha the lead and now all the confidence into the locker room.
Yeah, I think you can look at it as disappointing in the sense that they're trailing. But then I look at the positives for North Carolina and the respect that Union Omaha has come into Cary with and paid them in the way they've set up to limit and restrict North Carolina. And it'll be interesting to see how much energy North Carolina's got in the second half, because they're going to have to up the ante and throw bodies forward and try and create something, because they've had a lot of play but not been able to get that goal mouth action to test Kevin Piedrahita there.
Yeah, the regular season is just at its conclusion. And now we get a quick look at the schedules for North Carolina FC. They have one final home game next week against the Chattanooga Red Wolves, and then they finish with the Charlotte Independence. And if they want to clinch the playoffs, obviously they got to win tonight, but they know what's in front of them. They got to win these last two games.
And I think that nothing changes there, regardless of whether you want to make the playoffs or not. You want to win every game that comes along. And obviously next week, big night here, last home game. They'll look to try and end the season here in Cary on a good note. And then what better way to end the season with the North Carolina derby against Charlotte Independence? That's the rubber match to decide the series this season.
And as we get a look at Union Omaha's remaining schedule, you said they have two home games left, one against Tormenta and one against Central Valley Fuego. And as we said, they have not had a win in their last four games. If they get a win tonight and bring that confidence to them at home, they have a chance to possibly get into the top two and host a couple playoff games en road to the championship.
I mean, anything's possible, Brian. Those are two teams that are in and around the playoffs. Tormenta's right in there. Central Valley sort of on the outside looking in, especially after defeat in midweek. But with those two wins, a win tonight, they're looking at 9 points. Maybe Richmond's dropped some points here along the way. Same for Greenville. They could win the league again, right? So anything's possible. It's a strange league and ultra competitive. But 2 games at home, Omaha will be looking to pick up maximum points.
So there's the look at the schedules. On the other side of this break, we'll go over some of the scores around USL League One and a further look at the playoff picture. It's North Carolina FC 0, Union Omaha 1 on ESPN+.
I mean, yeah, that's how
Stop it.
Today we're going to go
Yo, roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
We're off and running, a spot in the League One final on the line. Fires, one, it's in! What a strike from the top of the block!
The visitors from Nebraska have the early 1-0 lead after 45 minutes against the home side, North Carolina FC. Brian Ware along with Andrew Tate. And Andrew, let's take one more look at the standings here as we get ready for the playoff hunt. We already mentioned at the top of the show that the Richmond Kickers have clinched a spot in the playoffs. But coming into this weekend's games, we could see several more teams. Greenville has a chance to clinch this weekend. So does Omaha if they win tonight. So does Tormenta and the Charlotte Independence as well. So for North Carolina FC, they still got a lot of work in front of them. Obviously, try to finish the season strong.
Yeah, and the mountain's looking very, very steep right now. Obviously, today's the big one. You've got to get a win here today, but they need some help elsewhere. And right now, they're not getting that. Chattanooga currently, we'll see the score soon. But Chattanooga's winning right now, which would see them secure their playoff, well, secure their spot above North Carolina and rule out their chances. So there you go. You see it. Chattanooga's beating the Charlotte Independence. Later tonight, you've got Central Valley and Northern Colorado, who are right on the cusp of the playoffs. That's a big one for them. If they want to get themselves into that mix, they've got to win. So it's win or bust at the moment. And then Tucson, a side that have they're on a really good run of form right now, and they're holding Greenville Triumph and looking to try and go ahead and get a big win there on the road.
Yeah, so far this month, Tucson has been playing spoiler. And as we get into the news and notes, we get a look at the USL playoffs presented by Hisense. We mentioned on Wednesday that the dates are confirmed. Quarterfinals will begin on the weekend of October 21st with the top overall seed hosting the final on November 6th. And sometimes to win a championship, you need to do well in terms of getting multiple wins and also winning on the road. And that's what Tormenta has done. Josh Phelps scored the lone goal in their game last week against Madison. 8 of their 11 wins have been away from home, the most in the league. And as we mentioned, you got to be hot. Charlotte Independence has won 3 straight games. They have moved into the top 6, and we mentioned, and you and Dean mentioned on Wednesday, Omar Cease scored an absolute wonder goal in their win against NCFC last Saturday. That was one of the highlights of the season.
Yeah, it was an absolute worldie of a goal from the centre-back, and I doubt he'll produce many moments of quality like that, but they'll need that if they're going to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, as we look at the team of the week, Breck Evans from Northern Colorado scored a brace against this Union Omaha team. But with Tucson playing spoiler, they had 4 players named to the team of the week. Kalen Fox, Daniel Bedoya, Louis Perez, as well as Carlos Morencio. We saw on Wednesday how Garrett McLaughlin has been playing. Also, Christian Cheney, he was a menace.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me today. Garrett McLaughlin scored in midweek. Same with Christian Cheney. If they both get goals today and get themselves back in the team of the week for this next week. So, but yeah, lots of great players all contributing. But for Tucson to get 4 players in there, certainly that hasn't happened any other time this season. But that's the craziness that's going on here as we try to wrap up the season and everyone's fighting for all the scraps that are on offer.
But we'll take one more final break and we'll get a look at some of the highlights and stats of this match.
Continental Tire has been a proud supporter of soccer for more than a decade. We've been there both on and off the field for some of the greatest celebrations. We've watched with you as the game and personalities have gotten bigger. We are proud to continue standing alongside you, supporting the game that gives us all so much. Together, we've shared thousands of incredible goals and celebrations. Here's to many more to come.
At Strategic Systems, we understand that a reliable IT infrastructure doesn't just materialize by itself. We've been helping Triangle businesses of all sizes build and manage secure, reliable technology solutions for over 25 years. Strategic Systems and CEI. Are you transforming your business?
So, how do you like your urgent care? At Wake Med, we have urgent care just about everywhere. Urgent care that specializes in orthopedics and kids. My Care 365, open every day of the year. Even virtual urgent care. Yup, urgent care in your jammies, on your tablet. So download the Wake Med All Access app and get urgent care that's caring, convenient, and just the way you like it.
Back here at Wake Med Soccer Park, North Carolina FC trailing Union Omaha by 1-0 after 45 minutes. Second half's just about to get started here in Cary, North Carolina. Brian Ware alongside Andrew Tate. Andrew, no changes made for head coach John Bradford. He's sticking with the 11. Obviously, looking at some of the stats, it's kind of remarkable how much they've had the ball. 69% to 31%. And in terms of passes, more than 2-to-1 edge. So they've been moving the ball around a lot. It's now they got to get that quality as Omaha starts things off here in the second half.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Brian. It doesn't matter how much you have the ball, it's what you do with it. And that one moment, Corey Hertzog had the ball inside the penalty box, and what he did with it was find the bottom corner. So that's the difference between the two teams. Union Omaha found their top man. Well, didn't find him, but he found the ball and found the back of the net. North Carolina hasn't been able to offer a chance of any worthy note inside the box for Garrett McLaughlin. 14 goals on the season. And they'll need to change that in the second half if they're going to get that all-important win and keep those faint playoff hopes alive. We'll keep tabs on that Chattanooga as score as we're going here as well. Hopefully that will become important, because that will mean that North Carolina is making a real game of it here.
Chef Brewer, one of the subs for Union Omaha in the first half. The other being Gabriel Claudio. To the defenders for the men in white. North Carolina FC all in blue.
A little change from midweek, Brian. We saw Olex Anderson stay on that far side in the second half and Arriaga stay on the near side, but today, I think that was more to do with the yellow card that the fullback was on at the time, but today we'll see them stay on the flanks that they started in the first half, so we'll get a close look at Olex Anderson. I'd expect John Bradford to use his bench today. We talked about it, 5 games in 14 days. A lot of tough road trips in there, out to Tucson. Forward Madison. And every game's been real nip and tuck, tight, competitive games. On a soggy, saturated Saturday night here in Cary. We've seen 2 injuries. Certainly takes the energy out of you.
Chiba wins the aerial battle with Arriaga, and Herzog picks up the ball. Scarce comes into an advanced position. He's met with by Jordan Skelton, the captain. Now Scarce to Heel. Now Claudio. Ball going back to Piedrahita. Flick takes a tumble as Heel evades him. Got a heavy touch by Herzog, puts the ball in Pekka's possession. And now what can NCFC do? Here's Anderson. Flick with a bit of an underlap. What a bit of flair from Flick. And now he's going to be called for a handball. Looked like the ball just tipped his hand as he was running in motion. Called by referee John Motto.
Oh, it's the faintest of touches. I didn't see that in real time, Brian. It looked like Flick had lived up to his name there with a couple of nice little touches. It was an awkward one to take into his path as it was behind him, but there was a little touch off the forearm there.
Max Flick, 27-year-old out of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Very versatile player in his second year with the club. Mostly played defender last year, and now he's mostly positioned as a fullback or a midfielder. Especially filling in for Nelson Flores Blanco, who has had a couple of stints this campaign with the El Salvador national team. He just had one, as that's a good ball to Corey Herzog. And it's going to be ruled a goal kick, as Herzog thought Christian Lu Young might have gotten a touch. He was asking for a corner there, but looks like the call might have been correct.
It's tough to tell from that angle, isn't it?
Not a lot of change in the direction of that ball.
He certainly looked flabbergasted by the decision, and he's in a much better position than us to decide that.
Here's Fisher. Obviously wanting to make up for the mistake he made that led to the goal in the 26th minute. Just giving Omaha this 1-0 lead, and trying to look at some of Omaha's results this year. They are not afraid to win some tight games, as they've had 3 games this year where it's been a 1-0 victory for them. And they've had a lot of 0-0s, a lot of 1-1 draws. As we said, coming into the game with 11 draws this campaign, which is tied for the most in League One. The other team is Madison, that has 11 draws, as there's a collision between Brito and Pekka in the box. Pulisic claims it, rolls it out to Rincon, who's in a bit of space here. Now the white shirts of Scarce and Doyle converge on the 16-year-old. Not really seen those moments of brilliance that we saw on Wednesday, but Rincon definitely game to try to expose this and break down this Omaha defense.
Yeah, he's got to get the support though there. There was just a wall of white shirts in front of him with just McLaughlin and Anderson, I think, for options ahead of the ball. So you've got to be patient. You've got to try and find ways to penetrate through that and get the numbers in and around those attacking areas. So certainly no fault of his own that he hasn't had those opportunities today. As a team, they've got to try and get a better possession up the field. That's a heavy touch from Claudio, though.
Almost gifted Anderson a chance to spark a counterattack.
But just going back to your point on Union Omaha, yeah, they know how to win a street fight. They're very wise, very savvy. They'll battle and grind it out. They don't score boatloads of goals. I think there's only been 2 or 3 occasions this season where they've scored more than 2. So I don't think it was ever going to be one of those games today where we were going to see a cricket score, but right now they're on course for a 1-0 win, which they would gladly bite your hand off if offered.
Here's Meza, who's been very quiet for Omaha, the leading goal scorer for the defending champs. And just looking at, you know, the difference from this year to last year, Omaha won the regular season with 51 points. They were tied for first in terms of the number of goals they scored with 44. But as we said, this is they still have a lot of young players they brought in because a lot of other players went out. Names like Evan Conway, Greg Hurst, Ethan Vanacore-Decker, Damia Villadere, who was a dangerous fullback for that Omaha side last year. There were a lot of people that left the team last year after their contract was ended. And Jay Mims and this Omaha staff, you got to give them credit in terms of signing some good players both at the beginning of the season and during the summer. Which, you know, they signed Luis Heel, they signed Corey Herzog in the summer, and now they've kind of put themselves in a position where right now they're sitting third and potentially to host one of the quarterfinal games, but they have a chance to get into the top two and make a run at defending their championship. And it's more because of, as you said, the defense. And now that defense might be tested here as Summersall was in an advanced position. Fisher, flick, this is better from NCFC. His cross is blocked by Brewer. You kind of get the feeling this is where NCFC wants to be, have their fullbacks this far up the pitch and bring that back line into the box. 55th minute here as Anderson collides and earns himself a free kick. And a chance now for North Carolina on a set piece as I believe Brewer's called on the challenge.
It's a little trick from Brewer, just trying to nip in there and poke the ball. Makes contact with Anderson. Couldn't tell if Anderson stepped on him, if he was tripped, but nonetheless, it's a free kick for North Carolina. Probably the best opportunity they've had to put a ball in of real dangerous quality, and it's probably going to be the in-swinger of Luis Arriaga, I would say, based on history.
Arriaga and Rincon, and they lay it off to the 16-year-old. Good ball in, and a heavy collision between Piedrahita and Anderson.
But it's a great ball. Boy, was I wrong. It's the 16-year-old that gets the call this time, and he puts it right on that 6-yard box. And Anderson's trying to crane his neck to get it down, but unfortunately couldn't do enough to keep it under the crossbar. But a really teasing ball in there for Piedrahita, couldn't come for it, and lucky for him and the Union Omaha defense, it's sails away and they're off the hook. Stays 1-0.
Stays 1-0, and it looks like John Bradford's going to make his first substitutions here of the second half. You see Nelson Blanco and I believe also Shaq Adams.
The likely changes there, Brian. I think a Max Flick for Flores Blanco, the usual left back. And then for Shaq Adams, that'll be an interesting one. Do you take off on Alex Anderson, knowing the energy and the legs and the minutes that he's had to put in the last few weeks, or do you roll the dice and maybe it's an Arriaga or the young man potentially, Nico Rincon? Young boy, put a lot of minutes in the last week, making his home debut on Wednesday, 60, 70 minutes in there.
Bit of a heavy pass from Fisher. He's looking for Rincon. Doyle now to Knutson. Knutson trying to deftly pass it to Noe Meza. Burrito try to keep it alive, out by Jordan Skelton. Throw to Union Omaha. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting substitution to see who Shaq Adams goes for.
can see Alex Anderson glaring over now, going, hey,
And
that better not be for me.
And does, Coach Bradford maybe change the formation? Maybe bring Arriaga into the middle and have a kind of a three midfielders. Here's a chance from Luis Hill.
It's a great touch and effort there. It's set up nicely for him.
As substitutions are coming in, it's going to be for Pekka. So Pekka will come off, and Shaq Adams will come on here in the 59th minute. And it looks like Arriaga might drift back into the middle. And you see Nelson Flores Blanco come in for Max Flick, the like-for-like change.
Put it together for Max Flick, number 4. Coming in for Max, number 3, Nelson Flores Blanco.
Certainly an attacking change from John Bradford. I think Flores for Flick's a bit of just a straight like-for-like. Flores just coming back from international duty, wasn't with the team on Wednesday. Picked up his 5th cap for El Salvador. Great experience for him, for the young boy.
And it puts, Raheem Summersall in a deeper position. So now you have Arriaga and Rincon in the middle, and Anderson and Adams as your wingers. So now, offensively, it looks like a 4-3-3. As Anderson wins the ball against Doyle. Foul against the Omaha captain. NCFC trying to get things going quickly. Here's Shaq Adams with his first touches. Over to Christian Liu Young. Liu Young against Jiba.
Yeah, like you said, in midfield, that'll be just flip the triangle a little bit instead of 2 holders with Pekka and Summersall. It'll be Summersall sitting with Rincon and Arriaga, looking to get up alongside McLaughlin. It's been an area they've struggled to get those bodies and combination plays going, but here's McLaughlin.
Here is McLaughlin against Dalton Knutson. And Knutson does his job there against one of the best goal scorers in USL League One. And Jiba clears it as far as Fisher, and now Nelson Flores Blanco, the El Salvadorian national, gets his first touch, and he links up with the Colombian, Nicolas Rincon.
I'll tell you what, Brian, I love that matchup. Doyle versus Rincon. The age difference there is frightening.
Here's Adams. Cross dealt with, I believe, by Claudio, and is going to yield a corner kick for North Carolina FC. Bright play from the man on loan from the Charleston Battery, Shaq Adams, and now Omaha have to defend a corner kick. It's going to be Luis Arriaga. And again, I believe Jordan Skelton's going to be called on the foul, tussling with Corey Herzog, who went down to ground. The veteran
doing his job, getting back in there. He's got the goal, he wants to make it stand up, so he's back in there. Talked about it, doing the ugly side of the game, just getting things done in there, making it difficult. It's a good example for the young players in the Union Omaha squad to see him, the veteran 32-year-old, score goals at various levels in the US pyramid. Doing a great job. I think now, Brian, we talked about it, the pace of Anderson down the left, but now we've got the pace of Adams down the right, so a dual threat. We'll see if that leads to more opportunities for McLaughlin.
And it will also give opportunities for the fullbacks to get further up, because now you have that pace to match. Especially down this right side, where Liu Young loves to get further up.
Yeah, the key is to try and stretch this side in Union Omaha. Very well organized, well drilled. You can see even with the 2 changes across the back line, they know exactly their jobs.
2 solid banks of 4. That's how they've played this whole game defensively. Kind of limited NCFC to just a couple of chances, but now they get another corner kick. Their 4th of the match. And now they need that quality from Arriaga to try to get that ball into the box to a runner. Got 3 just inside the 6-yard box. You got Fisher, Summersall, Skelton ready to charge in.
Ooh.
And Bounced off a couple of defenders. Jiba kept it in. And that is an excellent touch, I believe, by Herzog to hit it off of Summersall and gift Omaha a throw. A solid job by the Omaha defense. Yes, they read it that they were in a dangerous spot there. Kept their heads focused. Jiba kept it in play, and Herzog rushed to it, hit it off an NCFC player, and they got the ball.
Yeah, I was worried for a second there for Union Omaha as the ball came in from Arriaga. It was into a decent area, but there was two Omaha players that got in each other's way, and I wasn't quite sure what it had made contact with, but it bounced to safety in the end, as you mentioned, through the clever touches of Jiba.
Doyle, Herzog, Heel, looking for Brito. Met by Skelton. And now Summersall switches it to Blanco. Blanco with the long ball for Anderson. Brewer touches it out. Just dealing with the simple danger. Arriaga. Skelton. To Lou Young, who has kept this right back spot for most of the season, playing last year with Fort Lauderdale, the academy team for Inter Miami, the reserve team, as we got a free kick here after a tussle between Anderson and Brewer. And now you see Herzog doing his job, doing those small little things, just touch the ball away, slow the game down, let the defense set up. Veteran move.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see North Carolina see if they can take things quickly there, you know, and it's Herzog's quickly on the scene, making sure that's not going to happen. It was a strong tackle from Shaf Brewer. I'm not sure there was much wrong with it, but...
And the spot a moment ago, Rincon had delivered a good ball into the box, and referee John Maddow staying alert on things as Union Omaha setting their line just at the edge of the 18. At this time, it's going to be Arriaga. Deft across the far post, and Fisher could not get a head on it. Goal kick to Omaha here in the 66th minute.
Well, for me, with Arriaga's set pieces, he's got such a good right foot, but you can see he's trying to deliver the ball that he's delivering at the moment, which is this floating ball that, for me, doesn't ask enough questions. I think for me, they're aiming it at the far post with the bodies crashing in there, where you don't need this fantastic header. It could be off the head of a defender or something like that, but a bit more pace, a bit more venom, a bit more James Ward-Prowse-esque, Brian. You've seen that a few times. Your boys managed to get past, was it Southampton today? No, it was Palace.
Palace.
Palace. Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah, it's that collision between Fisher and Heel, and it looks like Heel's going to be charged with a yellow card for the outstretched leg here in the 67th minute. So Heel, the second player for Omaha that is booked. Heel, the 28-year-old out of Garden Grove, California. You see the outstretched leg. He is signed for Omaha, one of those summer signings in July. But he has been known in American soccer circles, signing a Generation Adidas contract in 2010 and playing in the MLS with Real Salt Lake for several years. And then he signed with Querétaro in Mexico, and then during his time with the Mexican side, he was loaned out to other MLS sides, including Orlando City, Colorado Rapids, the Houston Dynamo. So he has made a small name for himself playing at the MLS level, and now getting some more minutes at the USL League One level after spending several years playing in the Czech Republic. Here's Rincon. Blanco with a good cross. Adams is there. Adams! That was the chance. That was the chance that North Carolina had been waiting for. And how this ball did not go in, I don't know what to say, Andrew.
Oh, just off the top of his foot. I mean, the first touch was exquisite. And you thought as soon as he'd done that, he'd done the hard bit. I don't know what he did when he took his eye off it, but just didn't get the contact that he needed. But it was a great ball to the back post from Flores Blanco. Took an early look and then head down, drove it into a dangerous area. And there was Shaquem Adams. And the touch was absolutely on point. And unfortunately for him, the second touch wasn't. And a big chance goes begging with just over 20 minutes to go. What a difference that would have made, but more like it from North Carolina.
Yeah, the first real chance that North Carolina FC has tested Kevin Piedrahita. And if that ball had gone in, we would have had a great final 20 minutes plus for NCFC to try to look for a winner. Looks like Jaden Cervania is going to come in at the next opportunity for North Carolina. As McLaughlin gives chase, Piedrahita just clears it out back to midfield. And now the substitution will be made. Cervania comes in for Rincon here in the 69th minute. Obviously, Rincon had such an impressive game on Wednesday with a goal and an assist. Today, he had some good moments. And I think Coach Bradford will be pleased with the work that he put in, especially in moments where North Carolina FC wasn't able to try to break that, didn't have the chances to break that Omaha defense. He was still bright and looking for those spaces.
Yeah, he had that one pass today in the first half to Olex Anderson where he's looking out towards the left sideline and he squirts it in behind the fullback. He's shown little glimpses again. As I talked to the coaches, they said he's not going to be overly involved in the build-up play, but what he can produce is that bit of quality, that ball in that Anderson headed over, the little pass in the first half. You know, the two centre midfielders he's up against in there, and Doyle and Skiers have made it really, really hard. The job they've done to screen that back four and limit the spaces in there for the players and the likes of Rincon and Arriaga to operate in. Full credit to them, but he's certainly not done anything wrong today.
Cervania almost had a chance to get a touch there on that pass from Blanco. Heel towards Meza. That ball went out of play. And Noe Meza trying to slow things down, take a couple seconds away from North Carolina FC. Obviously, referee John Motto will be on top of it. And produce any cards for time wasting.
I mean, it's just amazing, Brian, to see how well marshaled Omaha are. We've seen this pitch so many times look absolutely massive. It's one of the biggest and best surfaces in the country, I would say. And sometimes it can absolutely swallow you up when a team's possessing it, but the way Union Omaha have just shifted and covered those spaces and those zones, the big bodies of Doyle and Skiers in there with the help of Brito and Heel, done a really, really good job. Much more likely from Union Omaha.
Now Herzog doing the job that he's supposed to do, hold the ball up, get fouls when he's hacked at, and bleed the clock. Comes Jiba into the box, his first real attack, and Skelton does his job, concedes a corner, but that's really one of the few times we've seen Ryan Jiba, the young 21-year-old out of South Sudan, really make an impact offensively.
Yeah, and that's it. They've sort of held their weapons in check And you wonder now, as North Carolina tries to flood and has to get a little bit more desperate and push bodies forward, if that will open up the opportunities on the counter for the likes of Jeeba and Brewer to get forward. And everybody back for North Carolina. I'd love to see at this point, Brian, maybe keep the likes of Anderson and Adams up top, their pace for the counter-attack.
Doyle's corner kick. Knudsen met it. Cleared out by Lou Young, and the two fullbacks from Omaha are back to take control. And now with Cervania into the game for Rincon, he's playing a little bit more of an advanced position, trying to start the press, as Herzog delivered a long pass into the box, attempted to find Brito. Pulisic corrals it, wants to get things going again. '74th minute here at Wake Med Soccer Park. North Carolina FC 0, Union Omaha 1. As Cervania looking up with Olex Anderson. And it's going to be a corner kick. There was a bit of talking with the referee saying it was out. No, it was in. Referee John Nato said it stayed in, and it's going to be a corner kick. And Jay Mims at the edge of his box wanting an explanation. He's not really going to get one as Arriaga sends the corner kick in. One of the players went down. I believe it's Skelton. He was looking for a foul, but he's not going to get one.
It's a good ball from Arriaga. I think Skelton was coming back to the ball. And it's Herzog he makes contact with. I don't think Herzog knew he was there. It's more everyone eyes on the ball. There's a little clash of legs. The referee's not going to give that one, I don't think. But it's great work from Anderson to salvage something. It was an overhit pass from Cervania. Anderson's pace made something of it. But for North Carolina, they weren't able to capitalize on the opportunity, which is kind of sums up the day so far.
It does, and the sense of urgency now in North Carolina FC with the players, the coaches on the bench. Obviously, they're pressuring referee John Nato and the fourth official for any kind of extra seconds of time wasting. And a referee has made a mention that these little hacks at Anderson have got to end. Looks like Nicolas Molina. Nicolas Molina ready to come in. Substitution is going to be made now. Molina is going to come in for Summersall.
Put your hands together for number 44, Raheem Summersall.
That is an attacking change.
Definitely an attacking change. It's really going to put Arriaga as the lone holding midfielder. As now you have Molina up, you have McLaughlin up, you have Cervania up in attack, along with Anderson and Shaq Adams. You got all of North Carolina's best options now on the pitch. And John Bradford is furious. He believes Herzog was not within 10 yards of that free kick.
I think he's running to the ball from his 10-yard spot, right? So I can see it. Herzog's not bothered. Play on.
McLaughlin taken down by Brito. Free kick to North Carolina.
Is that North Carolina's last available change? The three breaks.
Challenged by Fisher against Meza. Play continues. Now Jay Mims asking for an explanation. Meza is back up. Playoff positioning is on the line. North Carolina is eliminated with a loss. Union Omaha will be in with a win.
I think the game adding a little spice and feistiness will probably help North Carolina, I think, just trying to get that, break that discipline and cohesion that Union Omaha has, if we can unruffle the feathers a little bit and add a little bit of chaos, that could help North Carolina, as they've made a ton of changes now.
But they are in desperation mode.
Basically a 4-2-4 at the moment. And one of those two in midfield is Jaden Sylvania, not exactly a sitting midfielder.
No. We got 2 strikers and 2 wingers up. And Sylvania and Arriaga really got to run their socks off up against Doyle, Scarce, Heel, Meza. And now Shaft Brewer has come up. Brewer, left-footed shot. And it's going to be a goal kick.
Why not? Carried it all the way into a dangerous area. North Carolina were backing off. Good pace from the young man. He's done a really good job entering in midway through the first half for the injured Dion Akoff. And he's acquitted himself really, really well. And with that injury to the right back, he's now got an opportunity to really cement his spot for these last 2 or 3 games of the season, plus the playoffs, hopefully, for Union Omaha.
Here's Shaq Adams, who had the golden chance for North Carolina in this second half.
And this is where Union Omaha can really kill the game now and really overload that middle with Scarce and Doyle, with the support of Heel and Bredo. They'll just keep knocking the ball around, and Arriaga really should have tried to funnel the ball forward to Herzog, because they have numbers, North Carolina. Get them to play it forward to Herzog and Meza, and then crowd them out from there, because in the middle, they'll just kill you now in possession.
Yeah, and it's going to force the wingers like Shaq Adams and Olex Anderson to try to track back. McLaughlin's header finds Molina. Molina to Sylvania. Trying to get away from Meza. And that's those small things that Omaha have been very good at. Just try to force the NCFC players in the middle of the park to take a couple extra seconds and find another option and get off that first option. And the defense has done its job.
Great work again from Shaft Brewer.
Heel looking for Herzog, and Skelton clears it out of play.
Herzog not feeling that. He's giving some chat to Jordan Skelton. I think he felt the challenge was meant for him, and instead it was just all the ball getting thumped into the sideline. A bit of frustration shown from the captain there for North Carolina. But you can see as soon as North Carolina maybe take an extra touch or slow the play down, it just allows Union Omaha back into their shape, and they'll get there and make it really difficult.
And JP Scarce is going to be booked for not just the foul, but for the time wasting. And now referee John Motto slowing things down. Obviously he's got to do his bit of paperwork, giving the yellow card to JP Scarce, the industrious central midfielder for Union Omaha.
Omaha yellow.
As you see, it's just on the foul, and it's not just that, but also not giving the space for Sylvania to quickly restart things. And unfortunately, that's the second time that a pass from Nelson Blanco has gone wayward out of play and not to Olex Anderson.
Just look back and think of that chance for Shaquem Adams, don't you, Brian? I mean, it was such a chance. It was the best moment of the match. The ball from Flores Blanco may have put 2 balls out of bounds here right in front of us under very little pressure, but he put an absolute wonder pass to the far post, and it was Adams who just fluffed his lines after an exquisite first touch.
Adams against Bredo. Adams with a cross. Anderson! 1-1! A goal out of nothing, and North Carolina has tied it up, and they are smelling victory. They just need more opportunities like that.
And what a moment. We were just talking about Adams, but he makes up for that miss. Drives at the fullback, chips it into a great area, and Brewer fluffs his lines a little bit, and Anderson on the spot there, just flings it in front of it, and it flies in the corner. Here you can see Brewer's unsighted, and he just gets to it brilliantly and squeezes it between the two centre-backs into the bottom corner, and he's out on his back. What a moment for Alex Anderson. Really tough chance, but he took it brilliantly. A little salute to his island boy, Raheem Somersault, there on the sideline as he was cheering on there. But what a big goal that could be for North Carolina. Their playoff hopes are still alive. They're not getting a lot of help elsewhere. Chattanooga is beating the Independents 2-1, but at least giving themselves a chance here.
Yeah, this side is really looking to try to finish this season strong. They've had a tough middle of the campaign. And John Bradford's side knows that there's still a lot of fight left, even though they're bottom of the table.
They're not playing like a team that's bottom of the table, Brian. I mean, we've talked about they haven't created an awful lot, but they've really battled and scrapped with the reigning champions here, who are in the thick of the playoffs and definitely going to be in there. And
challenge between Anderson and Brewer. Card is going to come out, and
where's that going? That's going to Anderson? I'm looking at that, Brian. Surely that's a foul on Brewer. And a free kick to North Carolina. I can't see where he's given this. Is he trying to figure out where this yellow card's going?
Yeah, this is very intriguing. I've never seen this, and now it looks like the call is made. It's going to be a free kick to North Carolina. And Shaft Brewer is going to get the yellow card. I think he's trying to calm the tempers down, because obviously with the desperation mode of both teams,
couldn't tell there.
Referee is trying to calm everything down.
The cynical nature of me there is wondering if Shaft Brewer really was injured there, if he was trying to claim the free kicks. It looked like he stepped on Alex Anderson. It was definitely a genuine attempt to play the ball, but he didn't get anything on it. It was always going to be a free kick to North Carolina if the referee saw it properly.
Number 28, Shaft Brewer.
But he's done a really good job marshalling Alex Anderson, and just 2 moments now where Alex Anderson's starting to unravel him.
You see Anderson in an offside position right now. He's looking to get on a second ball here as the big boys for North Carolina just inside the box. It's going to be sent in by Arriaga. Molina's alone. Ball is loose, and it's out by Brewer.
What a header from Nicholas Molina there. It was a really tough one, just swinging out to that back post, but he held himself really strong and put it into a good area.
Here's another good ball, and it was just there for Alex Anderson as Blanco sent in that left-footed cross into the box, and you see Anderson give the thumbs up.
Yeah, Shaq Adams is reaching for it, Anderson stretching. Just too much on it from Flores Blanco. But you can see now the game's got really stretched. I've got to say, I think this favours North Carolina.
Skelton wins the header against Brito. Second ball, though, Jiva gets it forward for Omaha. Now can Union Omaha in this defense hold on for possibly another point? Heel had 2 men on the far side, dealt with by Lou Young. Second ball won by Cervania. Omaha wanted a handball, not given.
The old chicken neck from Jaden Cervania there, just pecking it down. You don't see that too often, but managed to pull it under.
Omaha ready to make their final change with the Japanese player Hugo Kamatani as Anderson trying to link up with Blanco on the run, but it went out of play. And a goal kick as Kamatani is going to come in for Union Omaha with their final change, and it's going to be the goal scorer, Corey Herzog. Herzog did his job today.
Yeah, he did.
Picked up the pieces gave Omaha that 1-0 lead. Yes, North Carolina pegged back to make it 1-1. But the 32-year-old veteran, who was signed in August at the beginning of the month, has done well. 4 goals in 2 months for Union Omaha. He's going to be a key player for this side when they defend their USL League One championship. A draw will put them at 42 points and bring them one step closer to the playoffs as Molina try to keep that ball alive. Claudio sweeps it out of bounds. 89th minute here. All will depend on how much added time will be given for North Carolina FC to pluck a winner. Cervania takes the ball away from Scarce. Adams trying to beat Chiba. And the ball went out of play. Assistant referee's flag went up immediately. Fans thought there was a chance there.
It's a close one. Give the benefit of the doubt to the assistant referee, who's got a much better view than us. But good play from Shaquem Adams. Want to see that more from him. He's got the confidence now to go at Jiba, who's no mug when it comes to pace. So for Shaquem Adams, after the back of creating that goal for Olex Anderson, he had that chance. It could be a different game right now if he'd have slotted that one in earlier in this second half.
Fisher wins the header against Kamatani. North Carolina can't do anything with the second ball.
On the flip side, Brian, for Union Omaha, if it stays this way, this would be a 5th game in a row without a victory, which, as a playoff contender and reigning champions, is something we haven't seen too often from them. The goal's hard to come by, but the game has still got a few legs in it. Great ball.
Yeah, North Carolina doesn't take account of Chiba. It's cross dealt with by Liu Young. Anderson controls it against Brewer.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the clock is up. It is 3 minutes of added time left.
3 minutes.
Anderson quickly throws it into Blanco. Obviously, John Bradford knows the season is still alive for North Carolina FC.
3 minutes seems a bit short-changed on this game. I would have expected more 5. The number of substitutions, the free kicks, an injury here or there.
And also the time that, you know, Omaha just take those couple seconds when they slow the game down. But the boys in white won't care. They know that coming out with a point will get them that much closer to the USL League One playoffs, as Brito at a spot from about 20 yards out.
Time for one more chance, maybe. Well done by Dalton Knutson, who I think's doing really well back there to keep Garrett McLaughlin quiet. There's no small feat in itself. He's had to work for scraps all day.
Yeah, we have not mentioned Garrett McLaughlin a lot in this game, the leading goal scorer for North Carolina FC, who came into today's game with a goal in 3 of his last 4 matches. Cervania was trying to pass it back to Arriaga. Kamatani tried with a shot, blocked by Jordan Skelton. Into the path of J.P. Scarce. Keeping it alive, here's Brewer. Low cross. Only as far as heel. Doyle. Cleared away by Fisher. And now chance here. OX Anderson up against Claudio. Anderson took it himself. And with 3 and 4 options in the box.
And it was all action at one end, and it quickly turned the other. You know, Alexander had a chance to win the game, and he's got to find a way to get it across the goal. Ask a question of the keeper to hit the side netting is incredibly disappointing for the striker there. And that, you'd say, Brian, is probably the game. A frustrating afternoon, I think, for North Carolina. They've huffed and puffed and had a couple of good moments. You look at the balance of play, probably should have scored 2 goals. Union Omaha not really had asked a question of Will Pulisic in goal. And there it is.
The full-time whistle is blown. And the game ends in a 1-1 draw. Olex Anderson scored the equalizer late after Corey Hertzog gave Union Omaha the early lead. And unfortunately for North Carolina FC, their run towards the USL League One playoffs presented by Hisense is done. They get a point here. They go to 30 points on the year, but they will not qualify for the playoffs. Omaha gets a point. They move to 42 on the season. They are winless in 5, but they will take a point on the road nonetheless. For Joe Ferrara and our entire crew, for Andrew Tate, I'm Brian Ware saying thanks again for watching this presentation of USL League One on ESPN+, where the final score is North Carolina FC 1, Union Omaha 1.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.